Europe's history is a complex tapestry woven from threads of conflict, cooperation, and constant transformation. From the ancient empires that once ruled vast territories to the modern nations that now define the continent, every era has left its mark. Few continents have experienced such profound shifts in power, ideology, and identity. The shifting borders, the rise and fall of empires, and the relentless march of progress have all contributed to the Europe we know today. To understand Europe today, one must delve into the crucible of its past, examining the pivotal events that shaped its destiny. These events are not just historical footnotes, they are the very foundation upon which modern Europe stands. This essay explores three such transformative moments: the Peace of Westphalia in 1648, which ended the devastating 30 Years' War, and laid the groundwork for the modern state system. The French Revolution in 1789, a seismic event that not only overthrew a monarchy, but also ignited a wave of revolutionary fervor across the continent, challenging the old order and promoting ideals of liberty, equality, and fraternity. And the Treaty of Versailles in 1919, which sought to bring an end to the horrors of World War I but also sowed the seeds for future conflicts, reshaping borders and altering the political landscape of Europe. Each event, in its own way, reshaped the political and social landscape of Europe, leaving an indelible mark on the continent's trajectory. These moments were not isolated, they were part of a continuum of change. These events did not occur in a vacuum, they were interconnected, each building upon the legacies and consequences of those that came before. The Peace of Westphalia influenced the French Revolution, which in turn set the stage for the Treaty of Versailles. By examining their causes, consequences, and interconnectedness, we can gain a deeper understanding of the forces that have shaped modern Europe. The threads of history are tightly woven, creating a rich tapestry of events and outcomes. By understanding the intricate web of cause and effect, we can appreciate the complexity of Europe's evolution. Each decision, each conflict, and each resolution has contributed to the Europe we see today. From the ashes of religious wars to the rise of nation-states, Europe has been a battleground of ideas and ideologies. The Peace of Westphalia marked the end of religious conflicts and the beginning of a new political order. And from the chaos of revolution to the devastation of global conflict, the continent has been shaped by both internal and external forces. The French Revolution and World War I were pivotal in redefining national boundaries and political ideologies. Europe's journey has been one of constant adaptation and reinvention. The continent has faced numerous challenges, from economic upheavals to social transformations, and has emerged stronger each time. By understanding its past, we can better navigate the complexities of its present and future. The lessons of history provide a roadmap for addressing contemporary issues and forging a path forward in an ever-changing world. The Peace of Westphalia, signed in 1648, marked a watershed moment in European history. This monumental event brought an end to one of the most devastating conflicts Europe had ever seen. It ended the 30 Years' War, a brutal conflict that had ravaged the continent and redrawn its religious and political map. The war had pitted major European powers against each other, leading to widespread destruction and loss of life. The treaties that constituted the Peace of Westphalia established a new order based on the principle of state sovereignty. This was a radical shift from the previous norms, where empires and religious authorities held significant sway over territories. For centuries, Europe had been dominated by the Holy Roman Empire, a vast decentralized entity with a complex web of allegiances. The empire's influence extended over numerous principalities, duchies, and city-states, each with its own degree of autonomy. The Peace of Westphalia shattered this old order, recognizing the right of individual states to govern themselves free from external interference. This recognition of state sovereignty allowed for the emergence of modern nation-states. This principle of sovereignty, enshrined in the treaties, became a cornerstone of international relations. It established the idea that each state, regardless of its size or power, had the right to self-determination and control over its own affairs. The Peace of Westphalia also introduced the concept of a balance of power. This was a strategic approach to prevent any single nation from becoming too dominant and threatening the stability of the region. Recognizing the dangers of unchecked ambition, the treaties aimed to prevent any single power from dominating Europe. This led to the formation of various alliances and counter-alliances designed to maintain equilibrium. This system of alliances and counter-alliances, while often fragile, helped to maintain a relative peace for decades to come. It was a delicate balance, but it provided a framework for diplomatic negotiations and conflict resolution. The legacy of Westphalia was profound. It not only ended a devastating war but also laid the foundations for a new political order in Europe. It ushered in an era of state-building, as rulers across Europe consolidated their power and asserted their independence. This period saw the rise of centralized governments and the decline of feudal structures. The treaties also laid the groundwork for the modern international system, where sovereign states interact with one another based on shared principles and norms. This system has evolved over centuries but remains rooted in the ideas first articulated in Westphalia. Today, the principles of state sovereignty and balance of power continue to influence global politics. The United Nations and other international bodies operate on these foundational concepts, striving to maintain peace and cooperation among nations. The Peace of Westphalia's impact is still felt in the way countries negotiate, form alliances, and resolve conflicts. It was a turning point that transformed the political landscape of Europe and set the stage for the modern world. The French Revolution, which erupted in 1789, was a seismic event that shook Europe to its core. It was not just a political upheaval, but a profound social and cultural transformation that reverberated across the continent and beyond. It challenged the very foundations of the old order, sweeping away centuries of absolute monarchy and aristocratic privilege. The revolutionaries sought to dismantle the entrenched hierarchies that had long dominated French society, aiming to create a more egalitarian and just system. In its place, it offered a new vision of society based on the principles of liberty, equality, and fraternity. These ideals became the rallying cry for the revolutionaries, who believed that a new era of human freedom and dignity was within reach. The revolution was fueled by a potent mix of social, economic, and political grievances. The common people, burdened by heavy taxes and economic hardship, were desperate for change. The widespread discontent created a fertile ground for revolutionary ideas to take root. The French monarchy, burdened by debt and inefficiency, faced growing unrest from its subjects. King Louis XVI's inability to address the financial crisis and his resistance to reform only exacerbated the situation, leading to a loss of faith in the monarchy. The rise of Enlightenment ideas, which emphasized reason and individual rights, further undermined the legitimacy of the old regime. Thinkers like Voltaire, Rousseau, and Montesquieu inspired a generation to question authority and envision a society based on rational principles. The storming of the Bastille on July 14, 1789, marked a turning point in the revolution. This dramatic event symbolized the people's defiance against tyranny and their determination to fight for their rights. It unleashed a wave of popular mobilization and violence that swept across France. The revolutionaries, driven by a fervent desire for change, resorted to radical measures to achieve their goals, leading to periods of intense conflict and upheaval. The monarchy was overthrown and a republic was proclaimed. This monumental shift in governance marked the beginning of a new chapter in French history, as the nation embarked on a path toward republicanism and democratic ideals. The French Revolution had a profound impact on Europe and beyond. It challenged the established order and inspired a wave of revolutionary movements across the continent, as people sought to emulate the French example and fight for their own rights and freedoms. It inspired movements for political and social change across the continent, spreading the ideals of popular sovereignty and national self-determination. The revolution's legacy can be seen in the numerous uprisings and reforms that followed in its wake. The revolution also unleashed powerful forces of nationalism, as the French people rallied around the banner of their newly formed republic. This sense of national identity and unity became a driving force in the years to come, shaping the future of France and influencing nationalist movements worldwide. World War I, which engulfed Europe in 1914, was a cataclysmic event that shattered the continent's fragile peace. It was a war on an unprecedented scale, fueled by industrialization, nationalism, and a complex web of alliances. The war left millions dead, empires shattered, and Europe in ruins. The Treaty of Versailles, signed in 1919, officially ended the war. However, instead of healing the wounds of conflict, the treaty sowed the seeds of future discord. The victors, driven by a desire for revenge and retribution, imposed harsh terms on the defeated powers, particularly Germany. Germany was forced to accept blame for the war, cede territory, disarm, and pay massive reparations. These punitive measures created resentment and instability in Germany, paving the way for the rise of extremism and the outbreak of World War II just 2 decades later. The Treaty of Versailles also led to the creation of the League of Nations, an international organization dedicated to preventing future wars. However, the League proved to be weak and ineffective, hampered by its own internal divisions and the lack of participation from key powers, including the United States.